Hi guys, welcome back to Relatable Nerds. I am Kyra and I am joined today by one of my favorite people to talk to with about Marvel today. I'm here with Nick from MCUN News, and today we are going to dive into Marvel Zombies, the long-awaited TV show that we first got to see back in the day when What If Season 1 came out.
Hey, one people. How you guys doing? Not just me. I'm with the Daywalker.
Yeah, I love it. I need to up my game on the figurines. I do not have enough of anything. I only have
Well,
little
I see you got
little
a
Yoda.
Funko Pop, and there's a Funko coming later for Blade from the Zombies one. I'll send you the link.
Yes, that was I can't wait to talk about that because that was obviously one of my favorite parts. And I see Blade. I'm like, let's go. I'm so excited. But yeah, you guys, we first saw the Marvel Zombies episode back in What If the animated series that came out a couple years ago now. It was such a great episode. Everybody loved it, received such great feedback. As soon as you watch that episode, you're like, wait, all of my favorite superheroes, my favorite villains are becoming zombies. So it just
Oh,
made Marvel that much cooler, especially if you're into spooky season, you know?
yeah. And it's a perfect timing. We got a bunch of Marvel projects that are part of the Halloween special, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, and if you want to count Blade as well. Hey, I'm counting it, or even Agatha or WandaVision, whatever you guys want to decide. But you guys should know, in this December, it'll be 20 years since Marvel Comics released the actual Marvel Zombies storyline.
Yeah.
And now, after 20 years, we have it on Disney Plus. The show was so good. I love the episode back in What If, and it took about 4 years. I don't know if you remember, back in 2021 in November, it was around after Thanksgiving, they announced that they were gonna that all the projects that are coming up, but 4 long years, and we finally have it. It's
Yes, that is so true. I feel like everybody has kind of it almost feels like when the snap happened in Infinity Wars, that time that we lost during COVID, like how many years has it been since this came out or that came out? But I do remember after that first initial episode of Zombies coming out, everybody was so excited. I remember them announcing pretty quickly because of the feedback they received that they were going to pursue a season with it. Now, we didn't know how many episodes they were going to do. Now, in the original Marvel Zombies comics that was written by Robert Kirkman with the art by Sean Phillips, like you said, that came out 20 years ago already, 2005 to 2006. There are only 5 issues in that comic, so there's not a lot of content to work with, a lot of storyline, but of course, we can always add to that and develop that. And honestly, after watching this season of just 4 episodes, I feel like they left it off where we could potentially have another season.
Well, I see it like as 5 episodes, the episode back in What If, but hey, I'm calling it. I don't know if you would call it, but do you know that the Watcher, he did make a cameo appearance in Marvel Zombies? Like you can't see, he's been doing it on so many projects where he's up in the sky or in the mirror, just watching everything. I'm like, come on, man, like do something or like talk for a moment. But no, 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 no.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into it. This initial season of Marvel Zombies, like you said, there was the episode in What If Season 1, but now we have 4 episodes in its own standalone season. And we got to follow some characters we haven't seen together yet in this universe. And there's been talks about the Young Avengers, there's been talks
Oh,
about these
yeah.
characters getting together and finally meeting and how great their chemistry is going to be just because they're all in the same age group. They all kind of had the same dynamic. And initially, right in episode 1, we get to see Kate Bishop, Riri Williams, and Kamala Khan join forces together in this post-zombie apocalypse world.
Finally,
Yes.
like everyone got their own show, and now they're finally together, even an animated show. But hey, we're sort of kind of getting that, one day for a future live action project. I'm waiting. I'm excited for all of them together, but it's gonna take time. We don't know when it'll happen, but hey, I'm excited for it.
The only
But
person I was waiting for was Cassie Lang. I was like, oh
and
my
where
God.
was she?
Where was she? I'm like, we got to see Scott. We got hints of it. They were in San Francisco briefly in episode 2, and we got to see Shang-Chi and Katie together. So I was like, oh my God, when is Cassie going to show up and when is she going to join forces with them? Obviously, in this initial episode 1, I was kind of shocked that we lost 2 out of the 3 already. While they're going on their journey. I mean, we don't know what happened to one of them, but we can confirm that Kate Bishop did die in this episode.
Unfortunately, I mean, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that is so sad.
I
Just
know.
I'm
Yeah.
like you just feel that episode back in the Marvel Zombies, like the emotion. I'm like, we just saw her like back in 2021, and yet this happened. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Just, I mean, we got to know, like from the comics, there's always going to be sad moments of many heroes being killed off. That the ones that survive during the apocalypse, that this happened. Like, oh, it's just so sad to watch.
Sorry.
Especially for Kamala Khan. She's, the heart of the team. Of what she's going through. I just,
I couldn't believe the way in which she died as well because first they start off in the city, they see a zombie Hawkeye, they find this transmitter that's going to be such a major integral part of the rest of the series and Kamala takes initiative pretty quickly and I wasn't shocked that she did. I didn't know where they were going to go with this, but I mean, I love her character so much. I really enjoyed Miss Marvel, so it was cool to see her take the lead and just she's just such a humble excited character. It's just really cool to see that the energy she has. And we see them get out of the city, and then we see they try to cut corners. They see in this mountain range that there's a big missing chunk of the mountains. So they drive through that. We come to find out that's like the Valley of the Gods, is what I think we called it. And there's a zombie Captain Marvel and Icarus, and they're battling and they're going at it in the sky, and they try to take a shortcut, you know. And unfortunately, because of that shortcut, Captain Marvel and them notice, and that is how Kate Bishop meets her doom. So it was not great. And right before she's like, "Oh," and then she just dies. It was pretty crazy.
and it's so interesting, when Miss Marvel, she sees Captain Marvel for the first time, she has no idea who she was. She idolized her in the show. Like she was given the bangle from her mother, and it gave her her powers and it unlocked, the energy. The I forgot what it's called, but yeah, like she wanted to become Miss Marvel, all because of Captain Marvel. But now she killed her friend, and she tries to kill the one thing that ruined, her emotional state of losing her best friend and losing another. And now Kamala is all alone. And what do you know? Someone picks her up, and it's the one and only Day Walker.
None other than Blade. And of course she's like, "Who are you?" You know, like it's so funny in retrospect because as a fan, a viewer watching this, we're like, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen next?" And then of course, Blade showing up is just so funny. And Blade also has like Khonshu attached to him, so we're getting like Moon Knight themes in this as well. And it's just there's so many little tidbits going on at the same time. But yeah, that's such a great point about Kamala with Captain Marvel because she idolizes Captain Marvel. She idolizes this woman. And for her to see her in that state at this point just has to be traumatizing. That's like watching your hero, your favorite person in the world, just, be a zombie in front of you and it's like they want to kill you. It's like, it's got to be one of the worst feelings ever, you know?
Just like with Kate and Clint. And yet
Yes,
all
exactly.
heroes. And
Oh, it's that was such a good play on what they did, you know?
At least that Riri doesn't have to go anything like that when it comes to Tony Stark. Like she just stole his suit. Like, I mean, that has to count for something.
Friday, yeah, with the little teddy bear. It's so funny. Such a funny little detail. But yeah, that's pretty much the summary of episode 1. It was just kind of setting the tone. We were meeting Kamala. Unfortunately, Kamala loses a couple of friends. We see Riri get like attacked by a lot of zombies. She ends up saving Kamala, has Friday take Kamala away from all of the zombies that are closing in on her. So we didn't see her die per se, but it just didn't look like it was going to be a good ending, you know? But Friday does drop Kamala off and then she goes back and she's like, "I'm not going to lose another, owner or person that I have that created me." So hopefully I'm rooting for Friday. Fingers crossed that Friday, the teddy bear Iron Man suit flew over there and took care of business. But it wasn't looking too good for Riri.
Well, let's see what happens like sometime next week at New York Comic Con if they can announce the season 2 for
Yeah.
Marvel Zombies. I'm having my fingers crossed. What about you?
I would love a season 2. I would love for them. There's just so many good characters that we're going to discuss that are in this initial season. So many people that we all love as fans that we love to see again, like Spider-Man, Blade. There's been so many mumblings about Blade and a Blade movie coming out and the script being written, the movie being canceled, the movie being made again. We see him in Deadpool as Wesley Snipes. Like there's so many loose ends, that they're teasing us and we're excited. And everybody right now with Marvel is just focused on Doomsday. We're focused on Fantastic Four. We're focused on Secret Wars, which rightfully so. Those are going to be great, great projects. But I, for one, I'll never forget when WandaVision came out during COVID in 2020. I feel like that saved a lot of us Marvel fans in the initial shows that came out that year, like Loki and stuff. And the shows for a while, I think, were the backbone of the MCU. They were keeping it going, because some of the movies, I always love a Marvel movie, but for a while there, I feel like the shows were stronger. And I would love it if they keep building on the shows and focus on that, especially now that we have Marvel animation separate from Marvel. Like, they're kind of doing their own thing in their own lane. So I'm here for it. I feel like people don't give the animated series as much attention as they should, right? Like people rather see like real life humans in the characters, but like this is the same argument I have with Star Wars animated series. I always tell people watch Clone Wars, you're going to meet Ahsoka, you're going to meet these characters you wouldn't experience or know, some of the best characters in the Star Wars universe unless you watch these animated series. So I'm always telling people to give the animated ones a chance. I think New York Comic Con, that could definitely happen. I mean, why not? We have the Young Avengers are coming for sure. Like that is, like I mean, they're already teasing, they're already testing, I think, the waters, seeing how we react. I mean, obviously, Kamala, Riri, and Kate have amazing chemistry already. I was sold on that. I've already been sold on that. I'm not, we'll see how Cassie Lang joins the mix and how that's gonna be, and then maybe Wanda's sons. But there's just so much potential. There's so much growth for the younger generation of Marvel right now, I feel.
It's gonna happen. I
It's
know it.
gonna happen.
I five.
Air five. All right, so let's get into episode two. Episode two, we're jumping, a different coast now. We're in San Francisco. We see Shang-Chi and Katie. Again, characters I have missed so much. I love the Shang-Chi movie. I thought that
I just
movie was
love
phenomenal.
for the both of them, for Kate and Shang-Chi, whenever they get to their music, and now she gets to be a part of it, a part of of the rings as she uses it. And between Agent Wu and Death Dealer,
I know. It was so funny. And we got to see how everything went down 5 years prior in their world when the zombies happened. We got to see them escape. We got to see, 5 years post that present day and what they're doing. And, it was kind of an ode to Mad Max with the steampunk bicycle gang in the desert. And, they're
oh,
listening to
yes.
Journey. It was so funny. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I love Jimmy Woo. Um, And then we come to find out, the scrolls now that have been on Earth, they're not even hiding themselves anymore. They're just out there living. A lot of them are zombie scrolls and everyone's just battling. Everyone's just trying to survive, whoever is survive at this point. And then we come to find out that Zemo, Baron Zemo, the one and only, is running this underwater city of the sea where survivors can live, and that's where everybody kind of ends up meeting up together, right?
I hated Zemo in that episode for what he was doing. Like, dude, are you serious? Like,
Such a bully.
I mean, I get it. He lost his family, because of the Avengers and everything, but you assholes need protection, And what do you know? There he is, a character that we haven't seen in a few years. Namor and the rest of the Telecon have have arrived to just destroy the raft and everything in the inside. I'm like, oh, dude.
Yeah, that's just such a crazy, intense scene. Zombie Namor is not what I expected. I mean, obviously they did tease that in the trailer for this, so we kind of knew it was going to happen, but that was so epic. I mean, we haven't seen Namor in a while as well, and like obviously his character has been announced for Secret Wars and he's going to be coming back and he has a very interesting storyline with Sue Storm as well. So
Oh,
there is a lot of room for potential with Namor. I really, really like his character. I thought he was so badass. It was perfect that they were underwater and that's where he reigns, and it was so hard for anybody to kill him because he was so strong.
yeah, but how? Like his skin is like unbreakable because you remember how when Baku just jumps out of nowhere, tries to tries to hit him with something, and when anything anything can he's like Luke Cage, Unbreakable Skin or something. I don't know. I don't know if I'm wrong. Haven't watched the movie in a while, but my question is how did he get bit? I don't.
That's totally fair. Yeah, it was, those little details. I'm like, I'm just glad to see them all in action again, and they're starting to tease everything that's going to be coming out within a couple years. I feel like this series also, like I said this already, but like it's serving as a precursor for these characters that we're going to see in live action very soon, because Namor is going to be part of it. But it was cool to see Yelena again, the Red Guardian, we got some of them back in the mix, and I love it when they're together. I enjoyed Thunderbolts so much. That was one of my favorite movies this year. It was just such an all-around, such an enjoyable movie. It was so fun. Did you like Thunderbolts?
Oh, I love
So
Thunderbolts.
good. And then I couldn't believe that post-credit scene too with the Fantastic Four ship arriving. I'm like, wait a second. Like there's so much going on in this movie. I thought the villains was great in Thunderbolts. I really, really enjoyed it. I think people slept on that movie as well, just because it wasn't the stereotypical Marvel movie. And I love how sly they were with the asterisk and how it's the new Avengers instead of Thunderbolts now. It was a great touch, but it's always cool to see Yelena. I love Florence Pugh. Who doesn't love Florence Pugh? She's like the best. And to see them back in action. But yeah, they end up in this underwater world with Zemo. Things hit the fan because of Namor, and then Zemo tries to sacrifice them because he says they have to feed on something. So they're like not gonna like kill them in their underwater little habitat there. And Yelena unfortunately ends up sacrificing herself.
That really hurt me a lot, especially with Red Guardian's performance, just the loss of Yelena, just the way at the end, just it just really hurts me how back in Thunderbolts when she entered the void, and I'm like, oh my God, someone give David Harbour an award or something, because especially, just that still really got me. Like I was watching it again yesterday, and I'm like, oh my, it's just
I
sad.
know. I love both of them so much. I'm such a fan of their work and I love the energy they bring. It's the same as it was in live action as it is with animated, and I think that's really something special when you can capture the same energy and emotions as live action to animated. But I love David Harbour. I'm already like very nervous because Stranger Things final episodes are coming out in a month now, and I'm like, these are like the last times we're gonna get to see Hopper and everybody in the gang together. So I'm like, oh my God, every time I hear his voice, I'm like, I'm in Hopper mode now. But it was cool to see him as Red Guardian before it all. But yeah, unfortunately, this episode ends with Yelena sacrificing herself and going out in true Yelena fashion, drinking some bourbon. She's like, one for you, one for me. I'm like, totally relatable. Totally relatable. Cheers to you, Yelena. I mean, she just has such a troubled past with her life. And, we see that in Thunderbolts. She does have some issues with alcohol just because she's so sad and she's lonely and she lost her sister, right? And she just questions her worth constantly. And as sad as it is that she sacrificed herself, I feel like that's a way she would want to go out. You know what I would mean? Like she would want to do that for the people she loves. That would almost be like a good way for her to end?
Yes,
Yeah.
she was just ready for it, like taken away and being separated by with from Natasha as a kid, and going through all that and being freed, and then and all this happened, and losing your sisters and her mom, like yeah, like anything just to protect, her father, and not to let anyone else, die, just to do anything just to protect the world. But yeah, just Florence, she is such a talented actress. You've seen some of her other movies where she was a wrestler, and when she was trapped with a One Direction guy. I'm sorry, I've already forgot his name, but I know he was Thanos' brother, of course. Yeah, but
Right, 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 right. No, no, I follow you. I follow you. Yeah, she
and her and
she's had
Spider
quite the journey.
and her and Spider-Man when they were a married couple, when she wanted to become a
Oh,
chef.
Harry Styles, Harry Styles.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Yes. Oh my gosh, that movie was amazing. I cried my eyes out that entire movie, I was shaking at the end of it from sobbing so much. I was like, I couldn't believe how much that movie made me cry. Oh my God, it was so good. She just has the best. She's the best actor. She's one of my favorite of this generation. I feel like I've been watching her since that wrestling movie where she played Paige from WWE. It's like Fighting My Family or something. It came out a while ago. Yeah. That was a good one. All right, so let's start with episode three now. Kind of picks up where we left off, but instead with what if, and we see Spider-Man, Black Panther, and
Yeah.
Scott Lang facing off zombie Thanos.
Um, and in retrospect, I'm just glad what Marvel did. Not recasting Chadwick Boseman, but they just kept him silent throughout the entire thing, and just the Infinity the Infinity story, the Infinity War story combining together in the Marvel Zombies. Like oh wow, that's like a good creative way. Like instead of Thanos destroying them, it just got collapsed and it created all this energy in Wakanda, and T'Challa sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Someone saved Spider-Man and Ant-Man, and what do you know? It's the
The
wizards from
rings. Yeah,
Kamata.
yeah. It was crazy to see. It's always crazy and emotional to see T'Challa again post-mortem after Chadwick Boseman's death. And it stings every time. It stings every single time. And in this particular episode, he sacrifices himself to defeat Thanos. And I was like, dang, we gotta like do it again, you know? Like, I don't want to see him die again. Like, this is too painful. This is too much already. But it's always cool to see them back together. It's always cool to see Spider-Man. I know that movie's filming right now as well. Scott Lang floating head there with the cape. That's always really funny. And so yeah, they end up making it, Kamala's gang ends up making it to New Asgard, where we see Valkyrie greet them. And she kind of has New Asgard. She thinks she has New Asgard on lockdown with no zombies, but out comes Wanda. And we haven't seen Wanda
That was a
since Doctor
surprising
Strange.
twist.
What was that?
That was a surprising twist. Not only to see Wanda, but what she was doing.
It's like you can never trust her. You can't trust her. She's always like just creating, she's like the ultimate just creating her own reality kind of manifesting person there, you know? Like we've been seeing her do it for 5 years now. I mean, the last time we got to see her was Multiverse of Madness. I enjoyed that movie very much. I know people, you either liked it or you didn't. You like Sam Raimi's style or not. I thought it was a very fun movie. It's always good to see Wanda. It's been so long since we've seen her. And I feel like they've waited a little too long to bring her back in the mix, you know?
She's doing a lot right now. I mean, and yeah, and it's been a while, since we have seen her, because they say that she's dead after the events of Multiverse of Madness, but I still think that she's alive.
She's
You
alive.
know, they're saying there are talks about Doctor Doom, like saving her or something that
Yeah.
she with
Oh
him.
yeah, that's actually I think that's a really possible scenario for Doctor Doom doing because if you have her on your side, I mean it's so easy to confuse people and trick people and just create this universe that people think they're in when they're really not and she's so good at it and she's so believable. You want to believe her. I mean, she got all of New Asgard and Valkyrie to believe that they were in this like perfect safe world. Come to find out, and you know, Kamala sees her, and Kamala's like, "Wait, this isn't right." Like Kamala immediately picks up on the energy, and she's like, "This is not right. Like you're evil. Like you're not good, right?" Like she just knows immediately. But you know, they give her a chance. They go into New Asgard. Everything looks like it's fine, but then you come to find out she's creating this whole reality, and they're all eating flesh. You know, they're all eating like body parts and it's crazy and they're being zombies without even knowing it. Everybody turns into zombies in New Asgard. Kamala and her crew are just, they're like, oh my God, they had no idea. Kamala knew, but nobody else did. Alexei was eating some of the flesh because he thought it was a turkey leg.
I mean, I just felt bad for him. I figured, just a little something, to cheer him up. And what do you know? It takes him away. No.
I know, and it makes them a zombie. And you know, they're obviously starving. They don't. they haven't been eating a lot because the world, there's an apocalypse. There's not the same luxuries we have. Like you can't go through a KFC drive-through. Like you can't go through McDonald's. Like if you see food like that, you're gonna eat it. So that was a bummer. So Alexi turns into a zombie, and then Thor shows up with Rocket and Groot to save the day, right?
Do you remember how triumphant that scene was the moment he arrived? And yet, when Thanos, he wipes them away. No, no,
Just
no.
so quickly. And I love seeing Rocket and Groot. I love them together. I think it's so cool to see them together, especially because when Thor originally meets
Right.
Rocket, he's like, "What are you, a little rabbit or whatever?" I forget what he says exactly, but he's just like he doesn't take him seriously at all. And Groot, is just like essentially this like tree, this woodland character. So it's just so funny to see a god and then a raccoon and a tree, like a stick. It's just so funny to see them as his sidekicks, but I love seeing them together. Yeah, Thor ends up becoming a zombie. Um, he tries to hold off Wanda for them. He ends up holding her off for a little bit so Kamala and her crew can escape. They get away with Valkyrie, but of course we lose Alexi in this. We lose a couple others. I think we lose Jimmy Woo as well in this episode. Tough watch, honestly. They're just killing people left and right in this series, and I kind of love that Marvel's just going for it because it's its own universe anyway. But then they end up. What were you
Yeah,
gonna say?
it's so different how we watch like The Walking Dead. It would take like so many episodes to kill a lot of people off, and yet it was so quickly just for Marvel Zombies. Like I'm like like it just brings me back, to watching the show back in high school, and I'm like, this and there and this and there. Like, dude, come on, like slow it
I
up.
know they were just. I guess it was only 4 episodes, right? So they're going for it, but it was intense. But then we end up, so Nova Corps is outside of Earth right now and they're like protecting it. And come to find out, they try to get off the planet, but Nova Corps is like, you can't leave. You guys are quarantined. Rightfully so. I mean, there was a zombie apocalypse. Why do they want that to get out in space, or in another
As I
planet?
understand, like, so I'm guessing the Guardians, whatever's left, they must have contacted Nova Corp and let them know, what was going on. Like, my question is, like, Ma and like how, yeah, Ma, he got what? Yeah, I already forgot that episode. Ma and that other big guy, that worked for Thanos. Like, yeah, they got him infected.
I guess I didn't think, I mean, it makes sense that they were trying to get off the planet. I didn't know somebody was going to be waiting for them. And like, we didn't really get to see who was Nova Corps, right? Like who was running it or, how that was going down, but it did make sense. But that's kind of how episode 3 ends. And then
Like that.
did you like that one?
I was like so pissed with Nova Corps, but you gotta understand. But but just with Wanda and this, I'm like, this is just a
Too
lot.
much.
It's a lot to take in.
So much going. And then you have to wonder, it's like I know Wanda was just creating the reality and Earth, but like how powerful is Wanda at this moment in time, right? Does she have the power to do this to other planets? Can she just like go out and do that to Nova Corps? Like, does she have the power to infiltrate space and like other dimensions? You just have to wonder like how powerful she is at this moment. Because I know right now her reign is over Earth and that's what she's focusing on, but geez, you just never know. Her reign is just she's so powerful and it's like it's so underestimated. And like you see moments like this and you're like, holy crap, like she can confuse anyone. Like you really can't do much with her because if you slip into that moment of belief where you actually think you're existing in this alternate reality, like how do you even get out of that? It'll take a lot to get you out of it.
It's just so sad, like because she lost her home, her brother, and Vision. She helped her cope with everything, and losing her husband, and then she becomes you know out of control in WandaVision, and way worse in Multiverse of Madness, and just hitting that back in Marvel Zombies is just you know what are they doing to Wanda? Like, she doesn't deserve it. She's an Avenger. I don't I
You're
don't want to.
right. Most of the things we initially saw her in, and she had such a not a great childhood, She was always with her brother. She loses her brother, then she meets Vision. She loves Vision, loses Vision. Then in WandaVision, she creates this alternate reality where she has kids and a family and she's happy. And come to find out, none of that is real. And it's like all she's trying to do, I think, is protect herself and have this life that she's always wanted and yearned for. But it's just not in the cards for her. And it's like, it's almost when you put all of that on the board and you analyze why she's doing what she's doing, it's kind of like, I get it, you know? She's trying to protect her own mind from her reality and just create one that she wants to exist in, you know? Yeah.
It's incredible. And then now it leads to, Nova Corps attacking them, and now they go back to Earth. And what do you know who saves them? Kamatage,
Yes.
our Sorcerer Supremes. Well, I don't know if they are
Yeah.
sorcerers, but yeah.
That was cool. That was a cool touch. That was really cool to see
So funny.
and so powerful.
Yeah, Blade is so calm. Yeah, his cape is all like flapping. You're like, dude. I'm like, yes.
So sick. Such a nice touch. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I like to see him in action as well. And then we end up last finale, episode 4. They kind of have their final battle.
It was just so epic. It feels like, the Lord of the Rings. There's a huge swarm of zombies, even in their Asgardian ship. Wanda was just so ready just for everything. And the Hulk, the Infinity Hulk, I'm like, wow, you just did that to no Bruce Banner. He is willing to do anything. Like he just came in to warn about Thanos, and yet he becomes, what Thanos yearns for, but to protect everyone. I'm like, oh no, please don't do it to the Hulk. But I
I
love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and I'm just, it was just so sad for me to watch, what was happening to him. But yeah, it just feels like the Lord of the Rings, and yet in all there is just 10 people, facing against Wanda's army.
You took the exact thought out of my mind when I was watching this episode when all the zombies are going down that hill. I'm like, oh my God. They look like the Riders of Rohan when Gandalf shows up and he's Gandalf the White and they see him after waiting for him and they say, he always says, look to the east at this time and everyone's about to die. And then you just see him come through with the Riders of Rohan in that epic, epic, epic battle. That's exactly what I was thinking. And it was so epic. There's so many of them. It was like, how are they even going to survive it, you know? And unfortunately, we lost a lot more people in this episode, and it doesn't end the way that you would want a Marvel series to end, or you would want the heroes to end. Most people do end up dying in this episode, and we see Wanda approach Kamala, and she's like, "Just join me, and you can have your friends back. You can have your life back." Everything will go back to the way it was, and Kamala's looking around, everybody's dead. She's all alone. It's like, what choice does she have? So she takes Wanda's hand and instantly is back in Jersey City with her family,
My friends,
her
like
friends.
it's just an illusion. And surprising twist, Riri is alive. So she did she actually do it? Did she made a serum to an antivirus of the whole zombie biting? I'm like what? Wow. Okay, I know she's smart with tech, but what the hell did she do? Like, did she find this or did she create it? But we won't know because it was. And then in a twist, Kamala, just doesn't know what's real or what's not, and now it leads to a cliffhanger. Just like I said earlier, next week in New York Comic Con, we're gonna find out, from Marvel Animation if there is gonna be a season 2, and there are talks about the Winter Soldier gonna be part of it.
I mean,
Because
bring it on, right? Like let's call in the big dogs. Let's bring them in. I mean, there's some people out there that are still alive fighting against these zombies. It was so I was even almost I watched this late at night after work, this final episode. So I knew she was definitely in like Wanda's illusion. Like it wasn't real life, It was too good to be true the way she partnered with Wanda, took her hand. Like, obviously, it's made up. But when you see Riri, I'm like, oh my God, is she seeing things? Is this like real? Is Riri still alive? Is Riri just trying to reach? Like I knew Riri was probably alive, but like when you're watching that too, it's almost like tricky. You're like, what's going on, Kamala has always loved more than anything is her friends and her family, you know, and obviously she loses her entire family in this zombie apocalypse. Then she loses her two best friends, and then she loses everybody that has helped her to that point. So it does end in that twist, and you're like, we'll find out, I guess, in a week. I feel like my gut is telling me they're gonna do another season or they're gonna do something with it, you know?
They better do something. They better.
They better. I want to see what happens. I'm glad Riri's alive. I got a little nervous there for a second. Friday came through, you know, Friday showed up and she helped her survive. And I'd like to think that Riri's a genius, right? Like I could see her creating and then who I forget. No, so that was Wanda talking about how she created a way to save herself in that episode 3, but there's got to be somebody out there too that's alive that has like started creating a serum or somebody's doing
Well,
something, you know?
we watch a lot of Marvel shows and movies around, and we don't know if some of these characters are alive. We'll just have to wait and find out.
Right. And that we will hopefully next week with New or in a couple weeks with New York Comic Con. Gonna find out a lot of stuff. You know, I wonder, I know they said the Doomsday trailer is gonna drop in December, but I feel like we may get a little tidbit. We could get something within this next couple of weeks. I mean, what's the next Marvel thing we have to look forward to at this point, you know? Like we gotta wait till 2026, which is a good thing. I think it's good to take time away. It makes it more special. You know, we were really oversaturated there for a while with shows and movies. So I'm excited to see what they're going to announce at New York Comic Con. Do you have any other predictions you think they're going to discuss?
Of course, they're probably going to talk about Vision Quest, X-Men '97. Yeah, hopefully Marvel Zombies. I hope so. But yeah,
Marvel Zombies. Fingers crossed we get a Marvel Zombies announcement and some Doomsday stuff in there. All right, you guys. Thank you, Nick, so much for joining me. I always love discussing all the Marvel things with you and nerding out, especially with Marvel Zombies. We've been looking forward to this for so long. We've been talking about it for a while now. So glad we got to have this discussion.
I'm
Maybe
glad
after New York Comic Con, we can come together and talk about all of the things that happened at that and have a little kind of nerding out episode as well, too.
we will.
Yeah. All right, Nick. You can find Nick at Marvel Cinematic News, MCUN News on Instagram, or his own personal Instagram, Nick the Drawer, where he is an artist himself.
Hey,
So,
I just draw people.
what was that?
I just draw.
Yeah, but you're great. You're great. I love following your artwork. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.